Welcome back. The Case-Shiller Home Price Index for the month of March out at 9 a.m. Eastern this morning. The seasonally adjusted 20-city index expected to remain unchanged monthly, but could drop by 1.6% year over year. That would mark the 11th straight month of slowing growth in the housing market. Joining me right now is Nest Seekers International Chief Economist Erin Sykes. Erin, welcome back. Great to see you this morning.
You too. Thanks, Maria.
How would you assess the housing market right now? I understand it's bifurcated, depends on the geography, it depends on where you're looking, but do you have an overall assessment of what has happened to housing as rates have gone up?
Yeah, so we have finally met our corrections, and that's taking off my economist hat and putting on my boots on the ground agent hat. And if I look back 6 to 8 weeks ago, which is where we're going to see the Case-Shiller reading come in today, we were seeing 5% pullbacks in the market. If I look at the last 2 to 3 weeks, we've seen 10, 20% price drops listed on MLS and then negotiations of even further discounts going into contracts. So I think today's reading will be moderate, but I think next month is going to be a real doozy.
So the median home sale price is down 4.1% in the month of April. That was the largest decline since January 2012. Redfin is reporting which U.S. cities saw the steepest decline. Topping the list is Oakland, California, followed by Austin, Texas, as well as Boise, Idaho. Erin, home prices are dropping, but mortgage rates are still on the rise. So even if you feel like the home you're looking at is more affordable, you're talking about an expensive mortgage, close to 7% at one point in the last year. Your take on the expense of buying a home today and taking on a mortgage?
So personally, I would rather get a deal on the price of a home rather than overpay and have a low rate. So I think that we're actually seeing the correction that we needed. And even with rates at 7%, we're below our 50-year average of 7.75% for the 30-year mortgage. But we've seen price corrections, not just of 5%, but those 20% corrections that we've seen even in the most desirable markets: Palm Beach, Miami, the Hamptons, New York City, the Jersey Shore. We're going to see things even out in a way that's going to make buyers move. That said, you've got to be first on that ball, because if you wait until everybody's doing the same thing, you're going to have that same competition that we saw a year and a half to 2 years ago. So you need to be ahead of the curve. You can't move with the herd in this situation if you want to really get a deal on a home.
Yeah, that makes sense. Liz Peek is with me this morning. Liz, jump in.
Good morning, Erin. Question for you. Where are we in terms of the actual health of the housing market? Not just pricing, but permits and housing starts are down year over year. Should we be expecting that to create a shortage of housing a year from now or 6 months from now? Is that going to feed into your comments about pricing and what people should expect to see in the way of price increases?
So that housing start number is super driven by multifamily. And where we're actually seeing the shortages is in single family homes. But we've seen the home builders, KB Homes, Toll Brothers, they've come out with incredible numbers this year, particularly in the last couple weeks, where we saw that their sales are hitting new records, but their prices dropped 8.2% year over year. So they, as leaders in the market, as industry insiders, they've already made the concessions needed to get these sales going, to get into contract. We saw resellers, people that list on the MLS with brokers, with agents, they were the holdouts. They were still waiting for their 2022 COVID highs. That's not going to happen. So I think what we need to do is we need to get the independent developers, the independent contractors working on single family homes. That needs to come into better balance. Unfortunately, they don't have the pricing power that the big guys do. So they're still paying incredible amounts for labor. They're still paying inflation numbers for supply. So we're not getting that upgrade, that uptick in single family, which is where we need it.
Well, also a need to come into balance is people going back to work. Employers are worried about getting their workers back, leaving huge buildings virtually vacant. What's your take on the state of commercial real estate right now? An issue that we worry about a lot on this program.
Sure. So commercial real estate often leads the residential market. So when we see a fallout in commercial, The residential market is often the next. So where I see an opportunity here, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news by any means, because I do think that we have to make up for a lot of housing shortage. We have these commercial buildings, particularly in New York City. This is not a new thing. You and I were talking about this in 2019 with the retail apocalypse. So this is not a COVID thing. This is a long-term issue that we've had with commercial. These buildings have an opportunity to be turned into multifamily housing, new condos, just like after 9/11, where we saw concessions come in with the tax incentives of, 20-year abatements. We have that opportunity now, and that will make up for the shortage.
Yeah, it's amazing to see Wall Street, for example. It used to be all commercial, and now there's so many residences around the New York Stock Exchange on Wall Street. Erin, it's great to get your take on all of that. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, Erin Sykes joining us.